a Latino surname, and yet her mother's surname is Serrano. So technically, both Puerto Rican Congress people from New York, the only two, are named Serrano in one way or another. But it is an honor and a pleasure to be here. And Director Gambrell, thank you so much for the work that you do. This is wonderful, this restaurant. And your comments made us so proud of the work that you're doing. Now, when I visit kids in schools, I tell them that the greatest part of our job is not what they see. It's the fact that when you open up the Constitution, right after it says we will have a country, it doesn't really say that. It says we will have a Congress. So we're the first people that show up in the Constitution. And then the other cool thing I tell them is that we don't need stamps when we send out official mail. We just sign our name, and that's the Frank, the famous Frank, but it's for official mail only. And they go, ooh, that cool. But I have to tell you, that's not as cool as signing the bills. That is the coolest thing in the world. I mean, to have your signature with all these bills traveling throughout. So it is an honor to be here today as we announce nearly $105 million in CDFI funds. I'm chairman of the Appropriations Committee that oversees the Treasury Department and the CDFI fund. And I have to tell you that amongst the different agencies that fall within my jurisdiction, this is one of my favorites. Because this one, unlike many of the others, can never do any harm to the community. It can only do good. There are others where I disagree and I fight with them back and forth, and Nydia will tell you about her chairmanship where she's the biggest supporter of the Small Business Administration and also the biggest critic to get them to do the right thing. Now, Nydia and I, as it works out, have a very good situation going here. She is chairwoman of the committee that oversees the Small Business Administration. So she passes all these laws. I'm chairman of the Appropriations Committee that funds the Small Business Administration. So in typical fashion, for Nydia and I, she proposes that I have to pay for it. And gladly so. I'm stealing Barney Frank's line because this new agency, Barney Frank and Dodd created, will fall under my jurisdiction. I have to pay for it next year, you know, and so it'll be very interesting. I'm especially pleased that I have been able to support the CDFI with funding. I'm especially pleased because in this award round, my New York State is receiving $11 million, which is the most CDFI funding for any state. In addition, New York has the second highest number of awards with a total of 21. I also would like to mention and congratulate Bethex Federal Credit Union, which is in my congressional district. Now, here's the good news. The money we're giving out today was the money that I appropriated last year and that Nydia and I voted for. But in the bill that I just proposed and passed out of committee, there's even more, $250 million more dollars to the CDFI fund. This will help our community development banks, credit unions, and nonprofit loan funds to continue to fill the void that has resulted from the overall decline in bank lending activities. In addition, the 2011 bill also proposes fully funding 2 new initiatives at the Community Development Financial Institutions Fund, with $50 million for the Bank on USA initiative and $25 million for the Healthy Food Financing Initiative, which is, you know, is the First Lady's initiative, which is going to get funded. You know, it's a good thing to be the First Lady or the President. Usually you get something funded through your committee, through my committee. No, she's getting $25 million from my committee, then I understand the Agriculture Committee is going to fund, then another. By the time this is open, it'll be a huge program, and rightfully so. And I know that as a result of what we're doing here today, all our groups will have a chance to grow and continue to grow. And I want once again to reiterate the importance of the CDFI fund. What Maria presented to us is the story of a person, like so many others, who just could not get the proper support from the local bank, and instead got it from the local group that has helped. Now I know this because I'm old enough to remember when the bank in Congress failed. Remember that bank? And it was replaced by what?
A credit union.
Congressional Credit Union, of which I'm a member of. And so it works out well. My next role here is to make sure that as we go through this bill into December and gets signed into law, and it probably will be December, that every dollar that you have put in the bill, that we put in the bill, is protected. And if in the process the Senate is willing to negotiate on some things they want, I will ask them for a little bit more money for the CDFI funds. Okay? And so, thank you so much for today and for this great event. And now I have the best part. And by the way, what you saw me fidgeting with is that Bloomberg got me hooked on the iPad, and so this is the way we do it now. Ladies, we're going to get you an iPad, don't worry about it.
My staff didn't read the email, but I sent it.
Nydia, let me give you some advice. Pay for it yourself, out of your pocket. This way you can put all your favorite pictures in there like I did and nobody can question. I pay for this myself. Opens up the email. And you work for Treasury, so I'm going to make sure you get an iPad too. All you guys are going to get an iPad. Now I have the best job today, and that's to introduce our next speaker. And she truly is my sister. She's a fighter. She is a person who believes that this country has to reach its full potential, which is to make sure that everybody shares in what is the greatest society on earth. We share the same goals. We know we live in the greatest country on earth. We just want it to be the greatest country for everybody, not just for 99% of the folks. And so we work at that daily. Those of you that are here, most of you in government and those of you in community work know how difficult politics can be. I can honestly tell you that I have no greater political ally than Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez. Now, I'm not going to tell you that we agree on every issue. There are a couple we don't agree on, but we do agree on one big issue. She should be reelected, and I should be reelected. And anybody who runs against her, since we're in her district, technically has declared war on me, and I will respond properly. And so it is with great honor and pleasure that I introduce to you my sister, our Congresswoman Nydia Velázquez.